Canes fans, I mean, Jake to the pylon, that kind of was a Heisman moment. I mean, I don't know. But we got the win. It's not the type of win that we necessarily want as far as the way that the game looked. But I will say this. Regardless of when you started playing football, if you played football, one of the things that was the first thing that was always said is there's 3 phases to the game. There's offense, there's defense, and there's special teams. And what we saw today, even though we had a couple of miscommunication issues on the defensive side of the ball, we can say that 2 out of those 3 phases got us this W. And when we needed it the most, once we got into overtime, all 3 phases clicked. So, because we needed little Borregales to make those kicks, and kudos to him, man. This same game last year, Manny Diaz brought him up to kick the game winner. He shanked it. Elliott called 2 consecutive timeouts towards the end of the game to try to ice him. Snap came, laces were out, kicked the laces, the ball went to the left, but he hit it. So kudos to him for, as they say, having ice in the veins, and the leg vein, not the arm vein, but the leg vein, because that's tremendous. Because I know he probably caught a lot of heat on social media last year for missing that kick last year, but I felt like that he actually redeemed himself today, right? He redeemed himself today. And again, like I said, it's 3 phases to the game: offense, defense, and special teams, right? So 2 out of the 3 played good today. Obviously there's some, rumors going around that I'm not gonna say the name, so if you're on any particular message board or whatever like that, you probably already know, but I'm not gonna pretend like I'm breaking news or anything. But there are rumblings that one particular player, a player that was a key contributor for us last year, may be entering the portal. Now, the thing about this is, I was just looking, someone said that this particular situation could potentially cause an avalanche. He referenced the Virginia Tech fiasco when, I forgot the VT coach name, he's not there anymore. But regardless. And I replied, I said, I don't think it could actually get that bad, simply because you have the portal now. And when he first initially got there, the portal wasn't what the portal is now. So add in the portal, you add in, again, the way that Mario Cristobal has shocked the world with the Cormani McClain commitment, pledge. Gotta keep saying pledge because pen ain't hit paper yet. But I think we should be able to weather the storm. Now, one of the things that I feel like that we as a fan base will have to come to grips with is, regardless of how we may feel and what we say on the outside, we all have favorite players on this team. Regardless of how the players are playing, we all have favorite players. And I'm sure the player that, again, was a key contributor last year, I'm sure a lot of people felt that he was one of their favorite players. He gave us a much-needed spark last year in some games. The touchdown that he had last year against Florida State was a big touchdown, Took some contact, held on to the ball, and, so that was that. And if it is true that, again, like I said, he is entering the portal, I do feel like Florida State might actually be a pick. I don't have any inside information or anything like that. I just think that that could be the pick. Obviously, that Miami's going to play Florida State next year, and it may be a situation where it may be a revenge factor, because you may look at it and say that the coaches may have didn't believe in me, or the coaches may have wanted putting me in a position to succeed, and I'm in my new spot, and I'm succeeding, and so I want to put it in your face, and I want you not to just see it across the country. I want you to see it up close and personal, right? So there's that. On defense, we had a notable player that did not play today. Wasn't stated whether or not it was an injury or anything, or I didn't see anything that made mention of an injury, and that's James Williams. So hopefully, nothing is going on with that. Shout out to Leonard Taylor today, right? I've been a person that has kind of been critical of Leonard, not because I feel like that he's not performing, but I feel like that sometimes you have certain players that are just so talented that I don't know if boredom kicks in or they just become unenthused or whatever the situation is, but he looked very, very motivated today. He looked like what I felt he should have looked like preseason when I said that in order for this defense to take it to the level and allow for us to forget the last couple of years in the Manny Diaz era, it has to start with 56. 56 has to become that dominant force that we anticipated him to be. Obviously, wasn't necessarily expecting him to just set the world on fire as a freshman, but obviously coming into his sophomore year, we expect that. So we're midway through this particular year, so it would be tremendous. It would be great if he can build off of this game throughout the rest of the year. We get bowl eligible, get those bowl practices in, comes back in next year, and the prediction that I made about this defense taking it to the next level starts with him. Maybe it can start with him, right? Again, just to touch on the defense, and then I'm gonna get out of here and say a couple things about the offense. Those guys did not give up. They did not give up. Brandon Armstrong short-armed a sure touchdown pass, and they had us deep deep in the red zone. At the 3-yard line, the defense bowled their back up, denied them, they kicked the field goal. So, I mean, obviously there was some communication errors, some bust, or whatever the situation is, but I really tip my hat. If I had a hat on my head, I really tip my hat to the defense for not laying down, for continuing to fight. Because a lot of times we have to think about it from the sense of playing against Duke last week, right? We were in situations where we were in short field situations, and we didn't answer the bell last week. It could have been frustration with the situation that the offense was turning the ball over, but we did not answer the bell last week. So kudos to Coach Steele and staff for instilling, and again, I'm not at practice, but hopefully they instilled into our defense to say, look, guys, hey, we got to control what we can control. We can't look at it and say just because the offense put us in a bad situation that, hey, well, they're doing it, so, hey, we should do it too. So, no, kudos to those guys for playing hard. Offensively, it was a struggle. I noticed Josh Gaddis came down from the box this week. It could have just been a situation that he wanted to be a little bit more up close and personal with Jake, obviously because we're coming off a game in which we have a quarterback that did not have the best first outing, right? So it could have been a situation where Gaddis just wanted to be right there with him, just let him know after each particular drive possession, because it was a situation where it was 10 possessions in the game and it was 10 punts. So nobody was in position to kick a field goal, much less score. So, and Jake, I mean, it's really too early. Some people say, man, it's a 2-game sample size. If we really go off a 2-game sample size of what we saw at the TVD last year, it wasn't necessarily that encouraging, but we saw that he flipped the switch, right? But a key caveat in that is, can Josh Gaddis flip the same switch that Red Lashley flipped and putting an offense on the field or putting an offense together that actually builds upon what it is that Jake does well? Because one thing I know, Jake wants to push the ball down the field, right? Even when he drops it off to on the 10-yard or checking it down to Parrish or checking it down to Mallory, it seems that first look is down the field, right? And like I said, I don't want to pile up on Jake. He made a beautiful throw in cover 2 where he hit it in that window. Kobe had to jump for it. He didn't necessarily put it on the line, but it was a great throw. So obviously, hopefully, some of those particular building blocks, he can build off of that. And Parrish ran hard today. Usually, I like seeing teams run the football, but I understand that in today's time that you need to be able to push the ball down the field. But what I really appreciate today is the fact that the offensive line didn't have too many mental blunders. Had no holding calls today. And that's big when you take into consideration how well we were able to run the football today. We did not have any holding calls. I really didn't see that many missed assignments up front, but we were able to do that. So kudos to the running game. Kudos to Coach Mirabel. Kudos to Mario. Kudos to Frank Ponce, as well as Josh Gaddis, for, I guess we can say, coming together and putting together a plan this week, because contrary to what some may think, Virginia has a top 40 defense, right? Now, obviously, that is not the same thing as a top 10 or a top 5 defense, but they have a top 40 defense, right? They have a top 40 defense. And so we were able to do some things on them. But that's it. Florida State this week, big rivalry game. Florida State looks to be playing better than us. But we looked to be playing better than Florida State last year, and we saw how that ended. So maybe we can have some reverse Juju go our way, similar to how we had some reverse Juju go our way today against Virginia. So, as always, go Canes. It's all about the U, baby.